All right, it's time now for the game preview presented by Ticketmaster here with head coach Kevin Stefanski. Kevin, some big changes this week. Tell me a little bit about the process that went into the decision to name Ken Dorsey your play caller this week.
Yeah, we look at everything every Monday and what can we do better, and I just felt like this is the right time for Ken to call it. I'm still involved and still helping, just like we always do. So the collaboration doesn't end there between myself, Ken, and the entire offensive staff, but just felt like I want to look at this, and I think Ken obviously is more than capable.
With Ken calling plays, what does that allow you to do on a given game day that maybe you weren't able to before or that you hoped to do before?
Well, I think anytime you're calling plays, obviously you're engrossed in that moment, but that doesn't mean you can't do your entire job, and that for me is making sure that you're staying on top of everything from game management to the offense, defense, and the special teams. Obviously not calling it, being involved still, but being able to have my eyes elsewhere I think will be beneficial.
All right, another big change. Quarterback, obviously, Deshaun Watson out for the season with that unfortunate Achilles injury. You've named Jameis Winston the starter for Week 8. What went into that decision? I mean, we know that Jameis has a long track record in the NFL, but what have you seen from him as a Brown?
Yeah, I've kind of mentioned it before. We feel really good about our backup quarterbacks, plural. Jameis had a really good offseason for us, has done a nice job at practice in the meeting rooms, and the same with Dorian. So we feel good about both of those guys. Obviously, Jameis came in late in that second game, gave us a little bit of a spark there in the last Sunday, and with Dorian dealing with the finger injury, felt like that was the right thing to do, but feel really good about both those guys.
All right, Week 8, another division game, back-to-back. Huntington Bank Field, you guys are hosting the Baltimore Ravens. We know what Lamar Jackson can do. We'll start with offense, but when you pair him with a guy like Derrick Henry in the backfield, what has that been able to do for their offense this year?
Obviously, they're playing at an extremely high level, both in the run and the pass. Derrick Henry's a guy that we've gone against. We know how big and physical and strong he is. He has speed, even for that size. So you have your work cut out for you when you're going against Derrick Henry. And you add him into this offense with the different run schemes that they have, the different players all around the perimeter. It's a huge challenge.
Now, on the ground, we see what they're able to do. But in the air, guys like Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews, how do they open up their offense, and what do you have to do to fight that?
I mean, it's a huge challenge because they have perimeter players, like you mentioned, with some of their wide receivers. They have multiple tight ends that can make plays. So it's a unique challenge when you go up against Baltimore, especially with Lamar Jackson and the things that he can do. So it really does take all 11 to play sound football.
We know they have big pieces on defense too, but they have given up the most passing yards in the NFL. How much do those stats, those data points, weigh into your game plan when you see what they've done this season?
Well, I think this is a very good defense. We know that they're good at stopping the run. They're good against the pass. I think they've been up in the third and fourth quarter in games, so teams have been throwing versus them. So I think that skews the numbers a little bit in the pass yards. But it's tough to throw it. It's tough to run it. It's a very formidable defense.
Now, defensively as well, I mean, whose numbers do you have to look out for to make sure you can win that turnover battle and prevent those takeaways?
Well, Kyle Hamilton's a guy. Obviously, he got one versus us last season. He plays down near the line of scrimmage a lot, even though he can play deep as well. Has ball skills, so he's a guy that certainly you are very aware of where he is.
This season, we've seen some big plays on special teams, both for and against the Browns. What does this matchup look like, special teams wise, for these two?
It's a great matchup. They do a great job. Coach Harbaugh always has a special teams unit that you have to be on your toes and be prepared for. So we're looking forward to bouncing back. We didn't play our best on Sunday. We know that. We're looking for a bounce back game.
I know you guys have been talking for weeks, right, that you just need to get a win. Is that sense of urgency increasing over the weeks? Is there an added hunger, or is it just something that you deal with every week?
I don't know if it can increase. We need it. And for the players, they put so much work in on these practice fields, in the meeting rooms, in the weight room. You want to look at the results of these things and say, okay, that's because we work so hard. So we want it, we need it. It's something that the guys understand. It doesn't come easy, and there's nothing to speak into existence. We have to just go work.
All right, thanks so much, Coach. Good luck on Sunday.
Thanks, Cam.